A convincing win in this economy?
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, caretaker at the Reef, also the co-host of Locked On NHL. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Proudly part of the Locked On Network, we cover your team every day. And if you want to be an everydayer, all you have to do, just follow along wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. And today we'll be breaking down the Sharks' convincing 5-2 win over the New Jersey Devils, one of the best teams in the NHL. So we'll be talking about how the Sharks were able to pull this off, lessons they learned from the last time these two teams played, the defense, playing well, including young Sam Dickinson, if he's potentially sticking around now. Dimitri Orlov also really settling into his role. We'll dig into the numbers of this game, which look a little bit ugly, but the Sharks were actually in a position where they could park the bus for an entire period. So we'll break it all down here. Before we get to all that, do want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. So I have to start with the lessons learned in this game, right? Because, we've seen the Sharks jump out to leads before, and we've seen them blow several leads, a lot, way too many leads. But I think my main takeaway from this game is the Sharks are starting to learn how to win and when to take advantage of their opportunities. We know this offense is going to have plenty of moments, right? But this is a team I think that's starting to take advantage of their opportunities. And I want to talk about the second period because the Sharks were it looked very much like what we saw last week when these two teams played, right? Where the Devils just kind of controlling the pace of play, keeping the puck in the offensive zone, and the Sharks just unable to generate any offense. And granted, the Sharks did generate a little bit of offense in the second period, but it was all Devils, right? Devils, it looked like they were going to start to kind of work their way back into this game. It was 3-1. You were kind of waiting for that next goal. Because if the Devils got it to 3-2, we've all seen this story before, right? But the Sharks, with about 5 minutes to play in the second period, started to string some shifts together, and this is where the game changed. Here is they were able to string some shifts together and get those 2 goals and put this game away. If you're watching on YouTube, I'll pull up the shot chart from Natural Stat Trick. They do this kind of rolling shot attempts, or rolling Corsi, right, at 5-on-5. And basically, the Sharks are coming out of the first period, right? They're taking more shots, they're generating more offense. They're controlling the pace of play. But you see the Devils kind of chip away and take, basically all through the second period. But that last 5 minutes, this is where the game changed. Is the Sharks were able to, even for 5 minutes, right? They're able to wrestle away, generate a bunch of shot attempts, get those 2 goals, and get back up 5-1. And then you could park the bus, right? And yes, when we'll talk about it more, but the Devils, of course, you're up by 4 goals. The Devils really kind of just, they were trying to get shots, but the defense was playing too well, and Nedeljkovic was playing great tonight as well. So that moment right there of taking advantage, that kind of counterpunch, that's a big kind of step for this team. And they're not going to be able to do this every night, right? And I still think this team's path to success is being a puck controlling, generate offense, and just continue to try to outscore your problems, because I don't think the defense is going to play this well every night. And this team is going to let in some soft goals, as we've seen all throughout the year. But tonight it was just nice to see them really kind of put together a game plan and a formula and then execute said game plan. Right. It's easy to talk about like, hey, this is what we want to do, but actually to go out and execute it, the Sharks did it tonight. And I think, it was a team effort, like everybody pitched in, but that second line has been absolutely on fire lately. And again tonight, Wennberg, Eklund, Kurashev. They won this game because of all three of those guys. Each had a goal. Wennberg, a goal and an assist. Eklund starts the game out with a goal early on, one to get the Sharks up, right? Because that's the Sharks need to, try to hold on to leads more. But Eklund, who's been on fire, 9 points in his last 5 games, 4 goals, 5 assists. But this second line has really started to gel and started to give the Sharks more and more juice, right? And so it's not just Celebrini, Smith, and like Celebrini had a pretty quiet night, except for that 5 minutes, right, where he was a big part of that, and he had a great assist on Will Smith's goal there. But the Sharks being able to generate offense from other than Celebrini is a big reason why this team is starting to put things together. And over the last 5 games, they were 3-2. Right? Yes, 2 of those are overtime wins, but they're 3-2 with a +2 goal differential. Like they're not getting blown out. Their losses, or the 3-1 loss against the Devils last week, that included an empty netter, and then a 4-3 loss to the Kings that they should have won that game. Right? Like they did everything but win that game essentially. The team is starting to figure out, and I know there was a lot of naysayers at the beginning of the season. Oh my God, this team is worse than last year, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, like, be patient. You have so many new faces coming in, especially along the blue line, right? 4 new blue liners between, Dickinson, Klingberg, Orlov, and then Nick Leddy. And then now you throw in Iorio. There's just a lot of moving pieces here. And they're starting to kind of figure things out, and everyone's kind of starting to figure out what their role is and what their expectations and stuff. And yes, they're like you're still going to have they have a tough weekend this weekend, right? You play the Avs, who are an absolute menace, and then you play Detroit, who's a very good team as well, and has started this season really well. And if you can if you can get a win out of there, and continue to build and be a competitive team night in, night out, I think it's very fair to say that this team is better than the rendition we got last year. And I think that hopefully the early season woes and, miscues and stuff, like you're seeing less and less of those. And this team is starting to kind of figure out its identity and hopefully start to kind of win some more games here. Again, this isn't a playoff team in any stretch and stuff. And I think most fans would recognize that, but you're starting to see the glimpses of what this team will eventually be, right? And the offense is going to be the big part of this team, especially as a young team. Like they're going to have to outscore a lot of their problems, but this team is putting up a lot of points. And they're, like I said, they're getting it from a lot of different contributors, both big time contributors, right? Celebrini, who's, I think it's a 6-game point streak for him right now. Will Smith with another goal tonight. Eklund, who is, 7th overall pick. We just mentioned he's got 9 points in his last 5 games. You're getting contributions from all your big names, but then you're starting to see guys like Kurashev, who's been on a tear lately, Wennberg, who's starting to score more, and you're seeing, Dimitri Orlov, who's basically a point per game player, has you're getting contributions from guys who maybe you didn't expect to get a ton of contributions from as well. So yeah, great win tonight. Very convincing win. I think this is one of those kind of, I don't want to say statement games, but this is one of those games where you can kind of hang your hat on as this is how the Sharks want to play. Plenty of things to clean up, right? The PK was a disaster, et cetera, et cetera. But you're starting to see how this team wants to play, right? Big, fast, aggressive. You're starting to kind of see that identity start to build and get put together here. So really happy with the way they played tonight. So and one of the big reasons tonight was the defense. So we're going to talk about the defense. Talk about Dimitri Orlov, who's really settled into his role and was an absolute menace tonight in the best way possible. Mukhamadulin's return. We're going to talk about Dickinson. We're going to be talking about all the guys here in just 1 second. Hockey season is officially here, and nothing beats being in the arena for those opening games. But let's be real, getting tickets can be a total headache. Between waiting in queues, surprise fees, and prices that jump right before checkout, it's easy to get frustrated when all you want to do is cheer on your team. That's where Game Time comes in, the app that gives fans the advantage. It's your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NHL tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. You can use Game Time for this weekend, right? The Avs are in town, the Red Wings are in town. You got a nice afternoon game. Like I expect the SAP Center to be rocking on Saturday afternoon. You should be. This is a fun team, guys. You should be going to the Sharks games as often as you can. But they have zone deals are a game changer. You can pick your section, and Game Time picks your seats. You can save big. You can even find NHL tickets for under $25. Take the guesswork out of buying NHL game tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code LOCKEDONNHL, LOCKEDON for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. All right, before we continue, of course want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. If you haven't yet, perfect time to subscribe, as well as reactions after every game. Plus, we'll be getting you ready for every game with a nice kind of 10-minute YouTube exclusive video. And then covering the best prospect pool. We'll have Barracuda stuff and interviews coming as well. So make sure you're following along wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. The defense, and again, defense is for nerds, go score goals. They did that, right? They scored 2 goals when they needed it, and then you can sit back and hang out. And credit to the defense side, I think was one of their best games when it came to kind of structure and limiting what the Devils wanted to do tonight. And tonight we had Shakir Mukhamadullin return. He was paired with Dickinson. We'll get to that. I want to start with Dimitri Orlov, who big question this offseason, right, when the Sharks signed him was, can he be the guy for San Jose, right? He's never had to be the defensive leader on the team, and kind of take on those tough minutes, take on those tough assignments. And Orlov has really settled into his role with the Sharks here. I think beginning of the year, he had a couple games, tough games in the preseason and stuff, but he's really, I think, kind of figuring out what his role is and what he's supposed to do with San Jose. And tonight was an absolute menace for the Devils. I know he had an elbow in penalty there, but he was physical. He was assertive. He was a big reason to kind of the Sharks were shutting down what the Devils were doing. And I think so far so good with Dimitri Orlov and what he is expected to provide with the Sharks. Again, a little bit of a rough start to start the season, but you can definitely see over the past couple weeks, he's a big reason why I think the defense is going to start to take a turnaround here, especially with some of the additions and names coming back from being injured and some of the guys who are not playing right now, whatever combination that is. But Orlov is a guy who should be needs to be here, needs to continue to do what he's doing. And I think tonight was a perfect example of what Orlov can bring. And you've seen Liljegren too. Liljegren, I thought had an excellent night tonight as well. He was all over the ice. He was also physical. Was jumping into the offense when warranted. If the Sharks defenders can play like that, you're gonna start to see things continue to turn around for them. Klingberg, I thought was a little okay. He had some bad turnovers, and you wonder with him, like he had a couple good shifts here and there, but like he has some bad turnovers, especially behind the net. Still going to give him a little bit of a leeway as he's kind of working back from his injury and stuff, but et cetera, et cetera. Ferraro was good. Like I thought all of the defenders were good tonight, and then the return of Mukmadulin was huge for the Sharks. And I know the PK gave up 2 as well tonight, and the PK is like that's the next bugaboo, right? As the Sharks have to try to figure out this penalty kill, because you can't be at like 65% or whatever they're at right now. Actually, I think it's like 63%, but you can't be that bad. You have to try to figure this out. But I think Mukamadulin's return to the penalty kill will eventually help kind of get that thing better, because he just provides a little bit different play style, right? Where he's big and he's rangy, but he's also physical enough where he can move guys out of the way in front of the net. And like, I mean, granted, both the goals coming on the penalty kill, like it's, Mercer, getting some redeflections and stuff there, like not too much Nedeljkovic can do there, but this PK has been an absolute mess all season, and the Sharks really need to clean it up. But anyway, with Mukmadulin, him paired with Dickinson, I thought was really good pairing, really smart pairing for them, because you can see these two guys playing together long term. Actually, Mukmadulin, who can play on both sides, played on his right side tonight. He's done it, and he's looked really good playing on his right side as well. I think getting Mukmadulin back, and as well as having Orlov growing into his role and kind of fitting his role, I think you can start to kind of pencil in, or at least in ink, like, okay, this guy here, and try to, as you're trying to figure out which combinations of guys work together and stuff. So as for Sam Dickinson, the nice thing when you have a big lead like this, because the Sharks haven't had moments like this where they've been able to play with a lead and kind of get Dickinson out there. He played 14-23 tonight, had 15 shifts. Did have a +1, not that plus minus means anything. Like he was out there, like he did. I was hoping he would get his first point tonight, but I think he continues to play well and continues. Yes, he's going to have some mistakes, but I think you're seeing less of the catastrophic ones. We don't have a decision. And I don't think the Sharks are going to say anything yet. We'll know on Friday, because the Sharks do have practice. So I assume he's going to be. We'll know if he's at practice or not, basically. But when Warsofsky didn't say anything regarding Sam Dickinson. But he did say, I think Curtis Pashelka said with a smile, nothing yet, but had a little bit of a smile on it. So we'll see. We shall see. I still think he stays. Like I think like he's done. Yeah. Warsofsky asked if he's willing to share good news about Dickinson, keeping him on the roster. No, not yet, he said with a smile. So yeah. We'll know on Friday what Dickinson's plans are. So I still think the Sharks should keep him. I going back to London, they talked about it on the broadcast too, and I've mentioned it a bunch of times. Like you just worry about instilling some of those bad habits, especially as a big fish in a small pond with Dickinson, where he's going to chase points. He's going to be asked to kind of play a much different role, which is fine. But I think if you want Dickinson to be a better defenseman, because the offense will come. Like the offense is going to come for Dickinson, but he's setting the foundation by playing solid defense. And then once he gets kind of comfortable with it, you'll see the offense start to come. We saw this with Mukmadulin as well, especially in the AHL last year, where like Mukmadulin started the season really slow offensively because he was trying to kind of iron out his defensive game. And then Mukmadulin has been a pretty solid offensive producer for the Sharks when he's in the lineup. So, I think Dickinson will. I'm hoping he stays. I get it if you send him back, but I just think you're kind of wasting everybody's time if you send him back, to be honest. So, but we'll know more. We'll know more soon. So, we're gonna dig into the numbers of this game. Talk about how the Sharks were able to get to this 3-0 lead, and be able to afford themselves a nice, easy third period. So we'll dig into the numbers here in just 1 second. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. So even if you miss the start of the game or just want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It makes every game more exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, before we finish up, do of course want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On NHL Game Night. Every game, every night, until a Stanley Cup champion is crowned. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find NHL Game Night on Locked On NHL on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. All right, let's finish this up by looking at the numbers of this game. So 52 and a half minutes of 5-on-5. Again, the numbers are going to be a little bit more skewed Devils-wise because the third period, and we'll talk about that here in a little, in a minute. But 58-42 shot attempts in favor of the Devils, 58-42%. Corsi 4 makes it nice and easy there. Actual shots on goal, 27-24 in favor of the Devils. This is all at 5-on-5, just as a reminder. Scoring chances, though, 24-16 in favor of the Sharks, 11-9 high danger chances in favor of the Sharks, 2.02 to 1.86 expected goals for in favor of the Sharks. So while the Devils outshot and the Sharks did all their heavy damage in the first two periods, right? The shot attempts were 20, so there's 39-34 in favor of the Sharks in the first two periods. The actual shots for I'm trying to do math live, 24-19 in favor of San Jose. Like scoring chances, 23-12. Like the Sharks, again, didn't get like the third period. They could just sit back because they didn't, you have a 3-goal lead or a 4-goal lead at 1.3 goals for most of it. And they could actually just focus on playing defense, which is something they haven't really had to do a lot recently. So it was a nice world to live in, to just kind of sit back and enjoy a period with your team leading. So as for the lines, of course, Misa sat out, so Patrick Giles jumped in as well. Ryan Reeves did leave the game after the second period, had a lower body injury he sustained on that. He had that breakaway. We'll see nothing from him, but I do think that it's a we'll kind of see with that. So good thing is the Sharks are at home and the Barracuda are at home as well. So if they need somebody, they can literally just yank somebody. The Barracuda do play Friday night, so we'll know probably a little bit more if they need somebody, if somebody's not playing Friday night. So we'll see. Anyway, Smith, Celebrini, Toffoli played 14-12. 13-16 shot attempts, 8-7 actual shots, had 2 goals. Smith and Toffoli both had goals tonight. 0.47 to 0.23 expected goals for, 6-4 scoring chances, 3-1 high danger chances. That Celebrini Smith goal, Celebrini winning the faceoff, right, and just like powering past 2 guys, gets it over to Smith. Smith, who misses the initial shot, but then on the reload, just an absolute snipe. Bonded pair, don't separate those two. Like you can't just let them. They're too good together. Like they're gonna have mistakes. Who cares? They're too good together because they give you moments like that where Celebrini had a pretty quiet tonight, like for the most part. But then he has a moment like that, and you're like, oh yeah, Macklin Celebrini. Anytime, like any moment, Celebrini can do something big. And actually, even one of my favorite, they're up like three, by 3 goals, like with 5 minutes left, and he's like back checking like crazy to get back and stops a play. Just an absolute menace. He's so good. Anyway, so good. Eklund, Wennberg, Kurashev, 13-22, 11-16 shot attempts, 5-8 actual shots, 2 goals for as well. 0.55 to 0.58 expected goals for, 8-6 scoring chances, 3-4 high danger chances. This line has been very good, as we talked about in the first segment, right? Very good, this line, and a big reason why the Sharks have really found their offense over the past kind of week and a half here. I think this line has a lot to do with just being able to kind of spread out and provide more scoring from different places. So again, good to see this line, but just getting some more offense elsewhere. So Skinner, Dellandrea, Graf played 855, 5-10 shot attempts, 5-5 actual shots, 0.28 to 0.18 expected goals for, 3-1 scoring chances, 1-1 high danger chances. Skinner's overdue. He's had a couple good opportunities in the past couple games and has not been able to cash in. I think Jeff Skinner's overdue. Dellandrea, kind of got their promotion up to the third line. This line was solid tonight, nothing kind of sexy or spectacular. But Misa, I think, as we've seen, Misa really makes this line sing when those three are together. And I'm hoping Misa's back in for Saturday's game against the Avs. Just something to keep in mind. We talked about it yesterday, but I still think you're trying to stretch out the Misa 9 games as long as humanly possible, especially if they're trying to also execute a trade elsewhere to keep Sam Dickinson and Misa on the roster. Those things take a little bit of time to get work through. So that's I would have loved to see Misa, but the Sharks have to think long term here, right? And they don't want to kind of box themselves in here where they have kind of put themselves in a bad position here with the contract. So I get why they're trying to stretch that out. So Goodrow, Giles, and Ryan Reeves, 5-22, 4-8 shot attempts, 3-4 actual shots, 0.32 to 0.3 expected goals for, 2-2 scored chances, 2-1 high danger chances. Giles getting some looks on the PK. He's an excellent PK. If you watch the Barracuda in the playoffs last year, absolute menace. It's good to see him getting some PK opportunities as well. So, and Ryan Reeves almost scored again, but again, left the game with an injury as well. So, for the Sharks defensive pairs, I know we spent a lot of time talking about them, but just how they perform. Again, the numbers are going to be not super great because of especially the third period where the Sharks just got heavily outshot because they were up by a bajillion goals. But Orlov, Liljegren led the way, 54.84%. Muka Madulin, Dickinson, 37%, Corsi 4, and then Ferraro Klingberg, 30% Corsi 4. Again, Muka Madulin and Dickinson got a lot of run in the third period, which is what you want to see, especially when you're up by 3 or 4 goals, and you want to get these guys some run there. So grain of salt with those numbers tonight, just because again the Devils outshot the Sharks. The shot attempts were 24-3 in the third period because the Sharks didn't have to do anything. Nedeljkovic was great tonight as well. Made some key saves when he had to, but he was just nice and calm and steady tonight. 29 of 31, 2 goals. Against expected goals against 2.33, so exactly what you would expect. 935 save percentage, 8 of 9 on high danger, 5 of 6 on mid danger, and 15 of 15 low danger. And the Sharks winning the 5-on-5 game was not on my bingo card, but they did it tonight, and I think that's the big reason why they were able to win the game because they won at 5-on-5, and that last kind of 5 minutes in the second period were able to string together some good shifts and put this thing away The Sharks putting a team away. That's a new concept for me. So we'll be back Saturday afternoon, I guess, whenever after the Sharks game. So make sure you're following along wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. Follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and on TikTok at Locked On Sharks. Follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at My Fry Hole. Until Saturday. Bye, friends.